Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Lehman from Math with Mrs. Lehman. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe and getting outside and enjoying the sun and the snow. Anyway, so this week we're looking at measures of center. Last week we looked at what makes something statistical, and when we look at statistics, we're really trying to answer the question of what is typical, what's to be expected, what's considered normal with these numbers, all right? So there are different ways to look at statistics, and one big thing that's really important is figuring out measures of center. All right, so a measure of center answers the question, what is typical? So we have three different measures of center, and they all could be very different from one another, and we can talk about that more as time passes, but you need to learn how to calculate these measures of center to figure out what is typical. So if you have a data set and you want to find the mean, that is another way of saying you want to find the average. We'll talk about how to find that in a minute. Median is the middle value. So when you arrange your data from least to greatest, which is a very important step, obviously it's crucial or you won't have the correct median because you don't want just random numbers, but when you put them in order from least to greatest, you find the middle value, and that means 50% of your data was less than that amount and 50% was 50% was lower, 50% is higher. Then we have the mode. It's a number that occurs most frequently in a data set. So we are going to take a look now at how we actually calculate measures of center, and that was part of your Khan Academy, obviously, lesson. So we are going to go to the first skill, mean or average. So you guys are used to seeing probably or hearing teachers say your average is whatever in a class, and what that means is that if you were to take all of your grades and add them all up and divide those grades equally amongst all the assignments you've worked on, you know, what would be the average or typical grade that you got. So let's say let's find the average of minutes working on IXL. So let's say that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you worked on an assignment on IXL, and your goal was to at least get in 25 minutes of IXL per day. Well, on Monday you worked for 30 minutes. On Tuesday, let's label this Monday, Tuesday you worked for 25 minutes. Wednesday, let's say you were rushed, you only worked for 20 minutes. So on Thursday, you worked for 40 minutes, you had a little extra time, but then on Friday, you wanted to get done with that pretty quickly, so you only put in 20 minutes, right? So how would we figure out if you met that goal of working an average of 25 minutes per day? Well, what you would have to do is take all of these values, 30, 25, 20, 40, and 20, add them all together. And I do not care if you use a calculator because honestly, you know how to add. So, and you know, pretty basic. I know, you know, adults use calculators all the time. As long as you know how to add, I'm not going to spend a ton of time, you know, making you do that kind of calculation. So anyway, you would add these all up. You're going to get a sum of 135. And then you're going to want to make sure at this point you get your glasses, because they're going to help you with division. All right, we're going to divide by the number of values. So we're talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's a total of 5 days. We had 5 numbers we added together. So we're going to take 135 and divide it by 5. All right, so take the sum of the numbers and divide by how many numbers you added together. And when you do that, you're going to get 27. And we divided minutes by the number of days. So that means you were on IXL an average of 27 minutes per day. Now you'll notice, no day were you on exactly 27 minutes. What we've done is we've taken all the minutes, put them into one metaphorical pile, right? And then we split them up equally amongst Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, essentially. So each day was 27 minutes on average. All right, so that's how you calculate the average. Again, you add and divide. So let's go on to the next measure of center, which is median. Before I do that, though, let's talk about where mean can kind of be a little bit of a problematic situation. let's say you are a kid that gets hundreds all the time. You are constantly doing your work, you do a good job, you're high 90s, hundreds, but then you forgot to do one assignment, right? When you have something that is considered an outlier, meaning it is a value that is outside of what you see frequently or typically, that, like, a low outlier really affects the average, right? So you guys know, hopefully not too well from personal experience, right? If you don't turn in something, it really sinks your average. So that's kind of one downfall of the mean. It is affected greatly by what we call outliers, kind of an atypical value that got thrown in the mix, all right? So the average is a great measure of center with that exception. Let's go to median, which is not affected by outliers. The median is simply the middle value, right? But the key thing is that you need to remember is that it's when the numbers are placed in order from least to greatest. You don't just want a random set of numbers and you just kind of pick the one that's sitting in the middle, because that is meaningless. You might as well just, guess at everything, because this is where we can figure out that 50% of the values are less than that and 50% are higher than that. So let's take a look at that same data set. So again, IXL, let's say Monday you did 30 minutes, Tuesday 25, Wednesday 20, Thursday 40, and Friday you were in a hurry and did 20, right? So it's the same data set. Now, if you were, not paying attention, a lot of kids would go, 20 is the median. That is not true, right? So your first step number one, is to put your values in order from least to greatest. So we're going to put 20. We had a second 20-minute, right, session, 25, 30, and 40. So now they're in order from least to greatest. What you want to do is essentially count in. Now, I don't recommend crossing off the values, but I'm just going to show you that. Maybe I'd put like a dot or something above them, because you might need these numbers later, right? So, all right, that one and that one. So 20 and 40, I'm going to jump into my next set. So when you have an odd data set, that's very easy to do, because you'll get one value in the middle, which in this case is 25 minutes. So that means half of the time you were less than that, half of the time you were more than that. So the median is the middle. So what happens if you had a scenario where, for example, you had two middle numbers? So let's pretend. All right, so let's say you did another 20-minute day in there, creating a new work week. I cracked myself up. Okay, anyway, so let's say we now count in, right, 20 and 40, 30 and 20. Now we're stuck between 20 and 25. So we want to figure out essentially what's the middle of those two numbers. Well, to find that, you would add 20 plus 25, you're going to get 45, right? Divide that by 2, you're going to get the midway point here, which is 22.5, right? That would be exactly halfway between 20 and 25. So again, you can have a mean that is not part of your data set. You can also have a median, which is not part of your data set, right? There is no 22.5 in our list of numbers, right? So it is possible to get a median that is not a number that you see in your data set. All right, so far we've covered mean is the average, median is the middle number, and the last measure of center we're going to talk about is mode, the value with the highest frequency. So this one's pretty easy. Mode is the one that you see the most. So 30, 25, 20, 40, and 20. Now you'll see that there is 20 listed twice. So this has a mode of 20, right? So let's hypothetically change that. Now, if it has a high frequency, if you're doing a frequency table, you might, we'll talk about those later, but it's the one with the highest frequency. Just remember that. All right, so let's say, hypothetically, I'm going to erase those. So what did I erase? I erased a 20 and a 20. Let's say this 20 at the end was actually a 22. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so, well, I don't see any numbers that repeat at all, right? So when you don't have anything that repeats or has a frequency higher than 1, you're just going to say no mode. Okay? So no mode in this case, because nothing is occurring any more frequently than anything else. Let's say now, hypothetically, you had a 20 again there, but then this wasn't a 30, and this was actually a 40. All right, so now you're seeing that the frequency of 20 is 2, and the frequency of 40 is also 2. So can you have multiple modes? Yes, you can. So you would say the modes are 20 and 40. Right? So if it's a overall tie, there's no mode, but if there is, more than one winner in the race for the highest frequency, then yes, you can have multiple modes. All right, so there you have it. Those are the measures of center. So next thing I'd like to do with you is go to your Khan Academy assignment. So let me get logged in there. Let me find it. I've downloaded approximately 8 bajillion apps. There it is. All right. So anyway, when you log in, you're going to see this screen, assignments, and you'll notice that you only see 4 assignments here. I wanted to point that out because a lot of people are only doing the 3 or 4 that show up for them. You want to click on this button that says See All, and that's going to take you to a page where you can see all of them and the due dates. And you'll see, obviously, today's Wednesday. You will see that your assignments are due tomorrow at 4 p.m. And again, I'd like to reiterate that it may look like, oh my goodness, Mrs. Lehman has lost her mind. Well, that may be true, but I have not lost my mind in that thinking that you have all the time in the world and, oh, she assigned me 7 assignments. It's literally 11 minutes of video, which I'm not going to watch with you. 11 minutes of video, an example page, this one right here. So it's just going to show you if my computer ever loads, or my iPad. Hello? Khan Academy, wake up! Time for school, buddy. Okay, well, that's being a pain. But anyway, so that gives kind of just like a, for lack of a better term, like a textbook overview, like back in the day when we had a thing called textbooks. It was a great time. But we didn't have cool internet, so there's a trade-off, I guess. But anyway, there would be like really great example pages where you could look back and see how something was done. Now, that's what the article is. So you have the 2 videos, one article, and then you have 4 sets of questions that are for each. So let's go through some of these questions. So calculating the mean. Watch this thing like not load for me. That's going to be fun. If that's the case, I'll upload video number 2 to this, and I'll do it in a separate video. Why does Khan Academy hate me today? Maybe it will work on my phone. Anyway, alright, so I'm going to pull the plug on this video, and I will upload a second video with help on the Khan Academy assignment. So have a great day, guys. Look for the video part 2 for this, and we'll go from there. So yeah, let me go back. EDU creations. So anyway, so quick review. Mean is the average, median is the middle value. Be sure to put them in order from least to greatest, and the mode is the one that occurs the most. All right, an average may or may not be part of your data set. A median may or may not be part of your data set. A mode definitely has to be part of the data set, and you could have no mode or multiple modes depending on that data set. So anyway, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, guys. Bye.